Can I just tap into your intellect around the 2024 election? I know you're a friend of Trump's. You've done things together. You've collaborated, etc., on books, etc. I've met him on a couple of occasions, and we talked about the division in the United States. Is the division such that if either one of either Biden or Trump wins the election, presidential position, is it going to be such that neither one will have a proper mandate and can do nothing? In other words, like they become hamstrung. Either the Senate won't pass anything that the lower house or the Congress passes, or the Congress won't agree with anything that the Senate proposes. Is that a potential to just maintain the division no matter who wins?
Well, I think the problem with Trump, he's got guts,
He definitely does.
And he stepped on a lot of toes. Bankers. They don't like him. So as I said, Bobby Kennedy, John Kennedy, they got taken out. So even if he's elected, his life is more in danger than, like I said, his two sons and I are really good friends. And they got balls, They speak out, they work for the people. As I said, I know the Trump boys, I watch what they do. So just watch what a person does, not what they say. So I know them personally, and I wouldn't say this if it wasn't true. I've spent weeks, a week of the hunting on a private island. No water, no toilets, nothing. Those boys ask no quarter. They go in the woods and they fish, and we have to catch our own food. They're tough young men, very good young men.
Do you think there's room for one of those two boys to take up the role in relation to that side of politics? I won't call it Republicans, but that side of politics, because, as you say, Donald is, he's got so many things against him at the moment. I mean, even if he does win, it's still going to be a tough gig, a really tough gig.
Yeah.
And they're not going to stop coming after him.
Correct.
It's already started. It's one of those things you sort of can't stop unless he pardons himself on everything. Do you think one of those two boys might take up the baton?
Well, politics is a dirty game. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah.
I just give them credit for being the spotlight, the limelight. I talk to them occasionally. I run into the boys, and I just give them credit. They got guts. It's hard to stand up to the banking system, as you know.
But Robert, I often look at Donald Trump and I think to myself, I don't know how many charges and how many cases he's got against him, but there's a lot. And then they've got this one where they're trying to take $500 million off him in cash, like as a surety against his appeal.
Yeah.
How does he keep going? I don't know him well enough to answer that question, so I thought maybe I'd get some insights, because I don't know. I just don't know where he gets the guts to keep doing what he does. Why is he so driven? What is it? Is it because he's so driven to save America? Is that what it is?
I've written 2 books with the guy. I spent about total about 8 weeks working with him and his company, the Trump Organization. Really good people. But when they weaponize the FBI and the court system against the man, that's fascism. They take our court system and go after him. That's fascism. So America's in serious, serious trouble. And that's my concern.
Is his game to try and change that, though? Is he?
Well, that's why he got taken out, He said, I'm going to drain the swamp. He's talking about the central banks. But the swamp. They're all in cahoots.
But I feel as though, just the sense I get is that Trump's on his own. I got a feeling Biden's not doing much at all, but there's a massive machine sitting behind him, well organised, politically, etc. And I just have this feeling that Trump's sort of there by himself, and he's sort of carrying the whole burden on his own shoulders. I just don't feel as though he has, I don't know if it's true or not, but it doesn't seem like he's got the same machine sitting behind him, other than those people who want to vote for him.
Right.
But I mean the machine between him and those people. It doesn't feel as though that's the same as the Democrats have. And that machine looks like it's going to run him down. The Democrats' machine the liberal machine looks like it's going to run him out of town.
Right.
That's the gut feeling I have sitting here in Australia. And
I would say you're accurate.
So what hope is there for the US?
Well, I always say, put yourself on your own gold standard or silver standard, educate yourself. We're going in for a rough ride. Let me say it again. China is in serious financial trouble. America is the biggest debtor nation in the world, printing $1 trillion every 90 days. Germany's in bankruptcy. So Aussie is the lucky country. So you're sheltered a bit. But as you know, China is your largest trading partner. And so it's imperative that every Aussie educate themselves to protect themselves. But if you're hoping the government's going to save you, then you're in trouble.
It's funny. I had it in 2016. I sat opposite Trump and I interviewed him. And this is before any presidential aspirations. I think it was 16, might have been 15, whatever.
Yeah.
And he said to me, one of the things he's concerned about is Australia's trading relationship with China.
Yeah.
And he said to me, and I at the time naively said, well, yeah, but they're our biggest trading partner. We shouldn't upset them, sort of thing. He said, let me tell you something. He said, yeah, they'll take all your iron ore and everything else that you're selling, coal, et cetera, that you're selling to them. He said, but ultimately you'll end up owing them something.
Yep.
Owing them something. He said, like we are in the United States. You've got to do something about that. That's
Yep.
what you've got to do something about. And it's interesting, your words to me just then, because the biggest owner of the debt in the United States, it gets issued on all these months, as you're talking
Bonds.
is China.
Yep.
They
And
hold,
Japan.
And Japan. They hold the greatest amount of debt,
Yeah.
which America owes.
Yeah.
It's funny when you say that to me, I just have a memory of what Trump told me. And I thought to myself at the time, what he said was quite out there. Today, I would say it's quite courageous, but sort of accurate. And what you're saying is effectively endorsing what he said back in 2016. Now it's all come to roost now.
Yep.
It's 8 years later, it's all come to roost.
Yep.
We now have this problem.
Yep.
And China's falling apart too,
Yep.
economically as well.
Yep.
So it sounds like we could be globally in for some other crisis.
Correct.
What it's called, I don't know. It won't be a GFC. It won't be a financial, well, maybe a financial crisis. Who knows? Because the value of their paper, the Chinese paper that it holds in relation to American debt,
Correct.
is not worth anywhere near what it was issued at.
Correct.
And China needs as much as they can possibly get.
Yeah.
Because they've got a bit of a few problems internally themselves. Are you sort of not predicting, but sort of suggesting there could be a crisis on its way?
There is one we're in it right now.
We're in it now.
Well, Xi, what is premier, he says his mandate, he's going to take Taiwan back.
So create a war, solve the problem.
Yeah. He says before, that's like Trump saying, I'm going to take Taiwan back. That's war, And so what's going on in Ukraine and all this, it's terrible. I mean, I hate war. I just hate it. I fought twice in Vietnam, killed a lot of people. But it's about money, as you know. Like I said, it's a very dangerous time on earth, so it's important that everybody take responsibility for yourselves financially, not expect the government to take care of you.